Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into the Natty State Six Pack. Curtis Wilkerson here with Andrew Ellis, as always. It's an exciting day because it's opening day down at Baum-Walker Stadium, but it would have been nice to have maybe yesterday's weather compared to this one. Yeah. But I don't think anything's going to rain on the baseball parade today.
Nothing's going to rain on the baseball parade. Nothing's going to rain on our parade. It's a great day to be alive. We got the Diamond Hogs. We've got other stuff going on in the world, I'm sure, that we're going to talk about. We got UFC 298. I mean, Curtis, there's nothing that can slow down this train except for the Arkansas basketball team, which has effectively slowed down this train.
Yeah, they have quite literally slowed down this train.
But that's why we exist.
That
why
is
this
exactly
very program exists. No one can hurt us. Even if the baseball team loses today, this six-pack is not going to be affected.
We're evergreen. We're omnipresent.
Exactly.
We've hit the fountain of youth.
We're covering much more
here.
important topics.
Yeah, exactly. We are covering much more important topics. For starters, dude, Caitlin Clark. Okay, I mean, this had to be the leadoff topic of the six-pack today because she's her. And if you don't know who Caitlin Clark is, shame on you for just living under a rock, because this girl is she's a freaking
the Cheryl
baller.
Miller of her time, one could argue.
Yeah,
man. I mean, anytime there's something, we all have to just acknowledge true greatness when it happens.
Yeah.
And, Patrick Mahomes, we're seeing that. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, whatever. There are just these people that kind of rise to the top, and you can tell, like, they just become bigger than, like, the sports themselves almost. Like, I care way more about Caitlin Clark than I do women's basketball, but I have her in that category of just, like, the all-time greats of their respective sports. Like, at least in my opinion, I haven't been watching women's basketball a ton. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a connoisseur who has strong opinions about this kind of stuff, but I remember watching Maya Moore. I remember watching Candace Parker. I remember watching whoever. Caitlin Clark's better than all of them, dude. She's unreal. She's must-watch TV. I don't know how many games she has left in her college career, but I can't wait to watch her in the tournament, dude. Like, it's just gonna be every game she has left. I feel like people need to be tuned in. Like, she's what'd she have last night? Like 43.
She had 49 points.
Yeah, and like 18 or like 13 and 7 or something crazy.
Yeah, 49
like
points. She had 13 assists in the game.
Dude, that's
just
unreal,
ridiculous.
bro.
And so she entered the game.
At any level, if someone did that in high school, I'd be like, wait, who did that? What?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to do at a D1 level.
Oh, it's nuts. And she needed 8 points entering the game to break the NCAA women's basketball scoring record.
She got them so quick.
She got them so quick. She scored the first 8 points for her team, and then the way that she broke it, like just
that 30-footer.
Yeah, dude, like in
32-footer
transition,
maybe?
just left of the logo. She pulls up from NBA range and just sinks it. That's classic. It couldn't happen in a better way unless it was like a buzzer beater. But let's be honest here, she was gonna score more than 8 points in that damn game. So
she got it out of the way real quick. She said, "Hey y'all, just let me take these first. It's gonna take me about 3 or 4 possessions.
Yeah,
and then we can get to what we got to get to. But I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this real quick.
Yeah, and I'm glad it happened at home too, by the way, like for them, because I know
not at on the road where she's getting assaulted.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that I don't know if it's true or not, but I think I saw a tweet that like Theo Vaughn and maybe somebody else, I want to say Shane Gillis, but I don't think that's right, but a couple like those comedians were there.
Oh, really? In Iowa?
Yeah, to watch the game, to watch her break the record. I know a bunch of those Barstool guys were probably there, but no, dude, that's awesome.
Where'd they go in Des Moines to hang out? I know you love Des Moines.
I do love Des Moines, and here's the thing about Des Moines is it gets brutally, like, uncomfortably frigid cold there, to the point where like you can't turn on air conditioning in the winter months. Like, they just won't let you do it. Like, if you're staying at a hotel or something, it's like heat only. So that kind of sucks. But they have like this elaborate system of I shouldn't call it tunnels, but like skywalks that you can stay indoors and like get anywhere you need to go. So that's a pretty good move on their part. But there are some pretty cool places. I thought it had something to do with a beaver the last time we talked about it, but it's not. It's called Buzzard Billy's. We went there.
Close enough.
There was this gaming place too that was like a Dave and Buster's for adults only that had a bunch of stuff, but I can't remember the name.
We're slowly
Ricochets. Thank you, Scotty.
We're getting slow. Like Dave and Buster's was Chuck E. Cheese for adults, and now we're getting like closer and closer to where boys can just have fun again. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. Ricochet
where
is the
men
name
can
of the
be
place.
men.
So I bet that's where they were at after the game, maybe even before. But yeah, Caitlin
they got
Clark,
axes at Ricochets.
They got asses at Ricochets.
Axes.
Oh yeah,
axes.
That too. Yeah.
That's what I was asking about, the axe throwing, because I feel like that's a new kind of evolution of the.
I don't.
Have y'all ever been to one of those places?
I have thrown axes a grand total of 0 times, but I really want to go.
They have one here. Maybe we need to go. We need to go do that.
I think we
soon.
need to do that. That's a good Natty State sports outing. I think it's only right. We could launch our Natty State outdoors.
Asses. Do they have asses there? Well, what kind of question would that be?
It made more sense than axes in my mind, because it's kind of a club scene.
There,
I was like, yeah, sure, they got asses, bro.
I love that you just straight. You were like, yeah, they got them.
I just think I was just going back to our typical conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
But they might. I mean, they've got the little bowling lane things. They've got darts. They've got pool tables, table tennis, all that stuff. So it's
now that
we're
really talking about it, I'm familiar with this place. I've seen pictures of it before.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's a crap ton of points, man. Like she's well over 3,000. I think she's the first women's player also to get over 3,000 points and 1,000 assists in her career. Like
she's getting it all. I mean, dude, she goes for 34, 8, and 8 like every game.
Yeah, and there's no asterisk here. Like it's not a situation where she's in her 7th year or something. She's played. It's not the KJ Jefferson Arkansas records deal where you just play more games than everybody. It's this is legit stuff. She's gonna be the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, and
there should be something better than #1 pick for this particular draft.
Yeah. They should have fights to the death to see who gets her.
Yeah,
it
should just be a straight up bidding war. Honestly,
it should be
just so we don't have to inflict violence, Curtis. Let's just solve this with something more logical and not weird at all. Money.
Oh, let them beat the hell out of each other. And speaking of beating the hell out of each other and women's basketball, did you see the Arkansas State Southern Miss women's basketball? It was an all out brawl, dude. That was like
it ramped up real quick.
Malice at the Palace style. That was intense. I haven't seen a women's basketball brawl quite like that one.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like I think there were a lot of people nearby, so it shouldn't have taken that long. But I think it took about 12 seconds for everyone to kind of realize how serious the threat was. Because in basketball, most times when two people start running at each other, there's a crowd of people, and they're not really looking to land blows. Mm-hmm. That girl, she got in she got in some licks before people really realized. She was so decisive.
She was letting it eat, man.
If you're in a brawl, you got to be decisive because there's going to be a time when people start separating. But she got in her licks before, and that was hectic.
And also the fact that it happened right in front of a bench made it impossible for other players not to get involved. Like when it happens right there, it's just going to get weird. And so I think there were at least 3 that got ejected also for leaving the bench and getting involved. There were fans that were running out of the stands getting involved. One of the coaches got knocked over and got trampled, and then wound up coming back out there later on crutches. I mean, that was intense.
Because places I feel like smaller schools just don't have the infrastructure to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, think about it. At all these big schools, they let students storm the court, or they kind of have nothing to do there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's probably not a ton of people working security, probably not a ton of Ronnie Brewers on staff. It's like when people want to hurt each other, it's really hard to get them to stop.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That was brutal. Were you ever, when you were playing sports in your day, were you ever involved in a brawl or a charging of the mound or anything crazy?
I remember one time when I was a freshman in high school, and I remember being at a game, and there was no way I didn't play as a freshman in baseball. I barely played as a senior, but as a freshman, I really wasn't playing. But I remember there was a benches clearing brawl where I stayed on the bench. And it wasn't everybody. I say benches clearing. If I stayed on the bench, it wasn't clearing. But it was people from the bench got up, but there was a collision at home plate where our guy was completely in the wrong. Yeah. I mean, the catcher had the ball and was ready to tag him, and this guy was a linebacker playing baseball, and just decided, I'm just going to tackle this catcher and hope he drops the ball. And he did drop the ball, but you can't do that in high school baseball, apparently. Yeah. And so this was against West Monroe, a really big high school, and so they had their benches immediately cleared, they were ready to go, and there was a meeting at home plate with probably 20, 30 people. I was a freshman who, didn't play, didn't really I didn't care that much about what was going on in the game anyway. I ended up transferring schools. I was a Benedict Arnold anyway. I didn't care about this program. Yeah. Plus I was, as a freshman, you're not playing. I'm like, I kind of hope they lose. That kind of stuff.
Right.
That's where I was at.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I didn't even like the kid that got in the brawl. So I was like, I'm not going to defend him. He's an idiot. He did that. And I remember saying that to my coaches afterwards, and they were like, no, you got to defend your teammate. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I
was like, there were people that went to defend him. I feel like if they did a good enough job, it'd be fine. But in basketball, I got our best player kicked off the team because I was the inbound guy, and we were playing this team that was just full court pressing us, and I probably had 12 turnovers in this game. But I finally just picked our tallest player, and so I just threw a lob to him for the inbound, and him and this dude went up for it, and they eventually, like before the ball could even hit the ground, they were trading punches.
Yeah.
Just went out for the rebound, and then just do. And he got kicked off the team the next day, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how not uncommon some of those things are. Like you mentioned the baseball thing, and I wasn't directly, I wasn't playing.
Baseball fights are usually like MLB. We've had some good ones lately, but baseball fights are a little weak most of the time.
Yeah, they usually
historically
are.
we've had a few. We've had some. There's been some big ones in the MLB, but I mean in high school baseball.
Yeah. When I was at Lindenwood, and I was doing athletic training for the baseball team there, and we were at Harris Stowe, which was an inner city school in St. Louis that was in our conference, and it was a situation where one of our guys had a hard slide into second to kind of break up a double play. Ball sailed in the outfield, and he wound up scoring, but also having a collision at the plate, like on the same. So you take a dude out basically at second base, and then you have a collision at home plate. And he got up and just got rocked, and it dropped him. And he was a college kid, but like he just got braces, so like his tooth went through his lip, and it was like caught on the braces, and it knocked him out to the point where he was seizing and stuff. Like it was scary.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And being the guy who's like in charge of saving lives out there, like that was an uncomfortable moment.
Yeah, you're being the trainer for baseball. You're really not expecting to have to resuscitate.
No, that's really not on the bingo card there. And the first game that I coached as a head coach, when I got promoted up from assistant, it was a weird deal. It was a mid-year thing where the head coach he just dipped, and they were like, "Hey, you got the team for the rest of the year." So I'm like, "Okay, great." And we're on the road. We're in Kansas City. We're playing Park University, and they're ranked, nationally ranked, and we're receiving votes, and we're winning like the whole game. And they make a late run like you do at home, and it's tied at the time. And our freshman guard, he was a little shit. Like he's one of those guys that you would hate to play against, but you love having on your team kind of deal. And
fight starter.
He got into a skirmish with a kid on the opposite end of the court, and our whole bench got up to run over there. And we were all like trying to grab guys and pull them back and stuff. So like people were getting ejected, and there weren't punches thrown, but there were a lot of shoves and a skirmish, and we wound up losing the freaking game because of that. But
nowadays,
I don't remember
they
any
just suspend everyone
fights.
who leaves the bench, and I'm like,
I know.
Relax.
Yeah. Come on, man. But no, it's that was wild. And yeah, that's the first time I remember seeing. I'm sure there has been, but like a women's basketball, like I wouldn't want to been
punches
in the
land, man. It's just it's really honestly like I hate to say it, but it's kind of cool when punches actually land in these sports fights because I feel like the vast majority are shoving, pushing, and like people kind of get there before anything real happens. So that's what's so cool whenever like Tim Anderson in baseball gets knocked out by Jose Ramirez.
I was about to say, who's the
like
dude for the White Sox that squared up
right
and then
after I
got
said
caught?
that baseball fights aren't usually good, I started thinking about it. I'm like, Robin Ventura whipped that boy's ass that one time.
Yeah.
Remember, there was, I feel like Nolan Ryan kicked someone's ass.
Nolan Ryan,
well, the pitchers, by the way, baseball fighters, if you're a baseball player that likes to get in a scrap every now and then, if you're the hitter at the plate, don't charge the mound.
Yeah.
You're at a strong disadvantage. He's got the elevation and everything. It's like the angles. He has time to. You have 60 feet.
Right.
You're not gonna like sneak up on him.
Yeah. Was it?
The pitcher always gets the leg up there every time.
Was it Bryce Harper who just horribly chucked the helmet? Like he
missed it.
he just
missed it like not even close. Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah, that's a tough look. If you're gonna throw an object, well, first of all, you got a bat in your hand. I'm not saying kill anybody, but that gives you a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, if you're gonna throw your helmet, you can't miss by 30 feet.
Who was the dude? I forget the dude's name. Odor was the one that connected with Jose Bautista.
Yeah.
He slept. I mean, that was a clean one, man. There's been some clean punches in baseball lately.
Yeah. Do you remember, I'm pretty sure this is a minor league deal, but I can't remember if the dude struck out or if he walked, like what happened there, but then he like sweet chin music the catcher who was in his stance.
I don't know if I've seen that. I haven't seen the kicks land.
I have to find it for you. Yeah. So the dude's like in his stance doing his crouch, and he just like kicks him right in the freaking face mask, and then he charges the mound. That's smart though, because
sweet chin music's good because it's always funny when people fight with football helmets or whatever, and it's like you're punching the guy. Right. Get it up underneath there. That's pretty good.
If you charge the mound, you're usually not even going to get there before the catcher gets to you.
Yeah.
So you got to take that guy out first and then go get the pitcher. So I thought it was kind of a savvy move. I'll have to show you that.
The catcher's usually in on it. You know,
Catcher is usually in.
Usually a safe assumption.
Yeah, exactly. God, we could talk about this for hours. But moving on, we're 2 beers down in the 6-pack. Moving on to the third one, I thought this was really interesting, and I think you watched the video. But Mike Boynton, who's the head coach at Oklahoma State, he's very much on the hot seat because, they've sucked since Cade Cunningham left. And they kind of got screwed over by the NCAA tournament violation or the ban that they got for the same allegations that but to a lesser degree that Kansas had and LSU and Arizona and all these other schools that wound up not getting punished. Like Oklahoma State was a sacrificial lamb, whatever. But he was talking about NIL, and man, I thought he made a really great point, but he ruined it with his example. And what he was talking about is basically recruiting was never really a challenge for him. He said until recruiting became not recruiting anymore. And what he's talking about is how you used to have to find these kids in the 9th grade and follow them around for 4 years and be, in their gym more than Bill Self or Roy Williams or whoever. And you got to have that relationship, and then you get them. And now it's a situation where you could do that for 4 years, but then another school could come and say, hey, I'll pay you $500,000 to come here for 9 months, and then you just lose them right away because money talks. I think that's a great point. But he used Cade Cunningham's recruitment as the example. And everybody knows that the reason he got Cade Cunningham was not because he was in the gym watching him every day for 4 years. Now, he had to put in some legwork to do this, but he hired his brother, who had no experience, onto the staff. So, I don't know.
The reason why and I agree with pretty much what you're saying. He made a good point. It was weird to use the Cade Cunningham just because, and also I'm sure Cade Cunningham took some compensation at some point along the line.
Let's not pretend
let's be for real here.
That's a good point.
But even aside from that, I just feel like the person he should be talking to is not us, or not the media about this. Talk to your school about this.
Exactly. True.
Sure, we'd like to live in a different world, or one that we used to live in, but it's just different. And I get that of the frustration of, hey, I'd rather just recruiting be truly about recruiting and all that. That's fine. It's just, you're a little late to the party, buddy. We've kind of already moved on. And also, I know you guys will pay for people. I know Oklahoma State's, got some NIL. It's look, it sucks that it is what it is, but that's the world we live in, man. That's
where we're at.
But I agreed with everything that he was saying, where it's about the relationships, and that kind of sucks. And he's like, look, I'm not going to work that hard anymore on recruiting. So, yeah. I think start fundraising then, Mike Boynton. But I thought it was actually a really good, for anyone that hasn't watched the video, just look it up. But it's just about a minute clip of him talking about that. I thought it was good for the most part, and I like it. But I'm with you where it's really, dude?
It took away from your own point, but but no, it is true, man. And I think it actually reflects you used to see at the EYBL things, I'd show up out there and try to watch some of the kids Arkansas is recruiting or whatever, and I'd be checking out the 17Us or the kids who are going into their senior year. And there's always going to be a lot of coaches around there. But that's basically all you see now. In the past, when I was back in the day, when I was coaching a few years ago, but there would be wall-to-wall college coaches at the 14 and 15U. These young dudes, they haven't even hit puberty yet, but you have to be a presence there. Now it just doesn't matter.
Well,
so it's weird.
It's similar to pro sports a little bit, and that's the direction we're heading, whether people want to or not. That's just kind of where we're at now. And I think it's just going to become a thing where if you're a school like an Oklahoma State, who is not a small school, they're in the Big 12, a legitimate program, you have to kind of, if you want a Cade Cunningham, you just got to spend money for him. And these bigger schools, they might be not wanting to get in a bidding war over a guy because they have a bunch of other 5 stars. That's just how the world's going to be. That's how it is in pro sports. The small market teams will go all in and get their 1 star because the Miami Heat don't want to negotiate it. That's just how it works. It's just, you just kind of got to adapt to the time. So it's I agree with what he's saying, and it's I get it, but also you paid for Cade Cunningham. You hired, it wasn't a real thing. We don't feel that bad for you. And you're at Oklahoma State. It's not like you're at Tulsa, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry that Eddie Sutton ain't cranking out the checks for you. That's not our fault, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to...
he's acting like he's at a third world poverty program. It's bro, Oklahoma State basketball.
Right.
You should be able to do some stuff there.
Exactly. Okay, so we're halfway through the 6-pack. We're going to move on to more important topics even. And we have discussed on this very show the sensation that is Sean Evans and Hot Ones. which Sydney Sweeney comes on there. She's gobbling down the hot wings, and it's the interviews, the YouTube guy. Very cool.
Genuinely love that show.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. It's awesome. Little did we know that the show Hot Ones is it's minuscule compared to the actual Hot Ones in Sean Evans' life. Have you been seeing all this stuff?
I've been seeing it. So now now it came out that he was dating a porn star, right?
Yes, Melissa Stratton. For those
who they have since broken up, right?
That's right.
Like in a matter of 2 days.
Yeah.
The picture of him just like mean mugging the camera and just with the porn star here, and like, oh yeah, they're dating, and like just the way he's looking at the camera of just like, yep, I'm the Hot Ones guy.
Yeah.
And I'm dating a porn star. You remember when Jimmy G got caught dating a porn star? It's like, that's,
right.
I kind of respect that move.
I respect it. I also respect that he dumped her.
Yeah, 2 days later.
Yeah,
like it was almost like he just purposely had this whole thing. So do you remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking to our good buddy and our coworker John Neighbors, and he was saying, yeah, he met the Sean Evans guy, and he's a little bit, he didn't have a bad thing to say about him, but he was like, he's a little bit different off camera.
Yeah.
Like he's not just the happy-go-lucky great interviewer that he is on Hot Ones. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like it is. This dude's a demon.
Yeah,
he's a
man.
demon low key, man. He's on demon mode.
I love that. Now I was reading some of the stuff about it, and it was pretty funny. Like, okay, you have a show. It's wildly popular or whatever, but this is a adult film star that she's probably very good at her occupation, whatever. But
Sean
it
Evans
wasn't
putting
just
it down like that. Is that what you're getting towards?
Well, maybe he does, but basically, what makes me respect him even more is that I guess the reason it became public knowledge that they were dating or seeing each other or whatever was she was posting pics of him, them together, like all over her Instagram or whatever. But he wasn't doing the same.
Yeah.
And he was posting like solo pictures of himself, like
maybe
at the
that's why
Super
he cut
Bowl
it
or
off.
whatever. Yeah. And so,
dude, there was
he
one.
big-timed her.
He was interviewing someone, a female. I don't know, maybe he was an actor or something, and he asked her a question, and he's such a good question asker. Like he's really genuinely one of the best interviewers in the world right now. I truly believe. But he asked this girl this question, and she was like taken back, and she was like, I don't know if you're just flirting with me or if like that was just you did your research or whatever. But like, are you in like kind of like was moved by how he was asking her the question. So I'm like, you know what, this dude Sean,
shout out to him.
He
man.
might just have it like that.
Yeah,
he might just be that guy.
Yeah, that story that made me happy. We had to talk about that.
I love seeing that.
I thought about having it for the flurry, but I was like, no,
that's its own
we got to
thing
get this
for
guy
sure.
in here, and we'll get to the flurry. But before we do, listen, man, we've been waiting for a good UFC card. We got one on Saturday. 298 is going to be a freaking banger. We're going to watch it together. We're going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings. Excited about that.
By the way, if y'all want to pull up at B-Dubs, we'll be there.
Be there. Yeah.
It
Come
is
hang
what
out.
it is.
We're pumped for it. Arkansas basketball.
Only if you're cool. That's our rules, by the way, of all time. Like only
true.
if you're cool, only then.
Yeah, don't mess up the vibes. Saturday is going to be an immaculate day. Arkansas
basketball's at 1.
Yeah. But here's the kicker, right? Is even if it's a stinker in Starkville, by halftime, the baseball game will start.
Correct, yeah.
And then when that's over, you got plenty of time to do what you got to do and get to B-dubs and watch the fights. So anyway, card's going to be awesome.
Do you remember like 3 weeks ago when I messaged you and I was like, hey, I just looked at it. Like we're not going to have Arkansas and UFC overlap until at least May.
Yeah.
Because like the 3 events, I guess March 9th, April 13th, tonight, like at least a pay-per-view, those next 3, Arkansas's sports schedule lines up flawlessly.
It's a beautiful thing.
And I love that. I mean, April 13th, we definitely don't have to worry about Arkansas basketball. I mean, even if they had won the title, they would be done.
Yeah, they would probably be done then. Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely don't have to worry about them. But guys, if you are thinking about watching this event or you're on the fence about it, do it. You got your B-dubs. You got Twin Peaks plays the fights.
Yeah.
You've got streams all over the internet.
Yeah.
Just look for like 5 minutes and you'll find a stream.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Before you...
Hell,
no offense, Dana White, but before you go paying for the pay-per-view,
if you've got the money and you're like, want to do it, I bought the one in January. I feel okay about that decision, but don't feel like, I got to pay $90 just to understand what y'all talking about. Just honestly, DM me and I will DM you a link. Personally.
There we go.
I promise you, anyone who or tweets at me or whatever, I will DM you a link.
There we go.
We can't go posting links because that's how
it's frowned
ops
upon.
Get us.
Yeah.
That's how the ops get us. But guys, be cool. Watch the fights. They're free. It's cool. Yeah. They're free.
Yeah.
And also, this is a card where like the prelims are not great, which is good because we will be doing stuff during those. Like the early prelims are at 5:30, the prelims are at 7, and then the main card's at 9.
Yeah. However,
That's it. So it doesn't really overlap with anything. So if you're watching college basketball or whatever, you can do all that.
If you're on the fence about the main card, then just watch the final prelim, right?
Typically,
and then, you know,
yes. When you know who
why
our
I said that.
I was say, you know who our featured prelim is. We'll go ahead and start there, especially because the fight below it, I have horrible news to report. Not horrible, but there were only 2 decent prelims: the Mackenzie Dern fight, which I'm about to talk about, and then this heavyweight fight between Justin Tafa and Marcos Rogero de Lima. One of them missed weight, and then it's just not happening.
They scrapped it.
They scrapped it today.
Mackenzie Dern make weight?
I don't know if she made weight, but I have not heard that the fight's canceled yet. So I'm going to assume that all these fights are on. So hopefully they are. But Mackenzie Dern, let's just say that she has a strong male following.
Yes.
The male audience has really taken a liking to her.
That's a great way to put it.
She is – there's a Brazilian flag next to her. She's not really Brazilian, but she claims to be Brazilian. She's a white woman from Los Angeles, it appears. But
the last time we were at B-Dubs, did we watch her lose?
In November.
That's right.
Yeah. She got pieced up by Jessica Andrade. She was like, Jessica Andrade is, if there was a BMF belt for women, the BWF, I guess.
Yeah.
Or no, the M doesn't stand for men.
Yeah.
She's the BMF of the women's. She just is one of those like fights. And Mackenzie Dern's a grappler who ran into a girl who could grapple and could also hit her with bricks, and that's what she did. Kind of a weird matchup here because, Amanda Lemos, who you almost convinced yourself was going to beat Zhang Wei Li back in August. Do you remember that?
I did almost convince myself that.
Amanda Lemos is fun, dude. Amanda Lemos had this stretch where she was like only fighting in the apex. I don't know what it was. I don't know if she just didn't like crowds or whatever.
She got hands on her.
But she's got some hands. She's got a ton of good finishes. Like if she wins, it's going to be by finish, whether she knocks her out or submits her. She's done a little bit of both. But against Weili, she just really couldn't stop the takedowns. And so if Mackenzie's able to take her down, she's got really good grappling. Mackenzie Dern, we're talking about her being a good-looking woman, which she is, but she's also one of the better grapplers in the UFC. Like she competed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before full-time, before she did MMA, and so she's won all these tournaments and knows all these submissions and stuff. So if she gets it to the ground, she's going to know what she's doing, and she can, she can win that fight. And she's in that range of like, she's ranked 7th right now, and she just can't quite get over the hump and beat a top 5 person. But she's taking this fight on a month's notice, by the way. This was supposed to be Tatiana Suarez, who would have dominated both of these girls easily. Right. She had to pull out. I think this is an interesting spot. Mackenzie Dern is plus 115. I think she's got a chance.
Do you worry about her? Now, is she the one who's been taking so many fights because she I don't know if she needs the money or she's got some personal stuff going on?
That was Andrade who was taking all the fights.
Okay,
she fought 5 times in 2023 and she went 2-3.
Right, I got you.
But she was just, all she did was fight high-level people. But yeah, she knocked out Dern in November.
Yeah.
Now, Dern last year, she fought twice. Once against Angela Hill where she dominated her, won that one, and that was right after she got divorced. So there was a stretch where people were like, hey, divorced Dern is a mythical fighter. It was like a thing. But then she got beat up by Jessica Andrade.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how she shakes back. But I think y'all should watch that fight. I'm not saying it's going to be like
distance, personally.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just a fun fight. And, Mackenzie, it might not be great, but she is typically fun. She does usually bring the action. So that'll be a fun featured prelim. And it's a good one to kick us right into this main card.
Yeah, main card's a banger, dude.
So it starts off, honestly, like nobody listening right now is going to know these 2 names that I'm about to read, but Roman Kopylov is a Russian kickboxer.
You showed me, this is the dude you showed me yesterday?
Yes, and he honestly, he looks a little bit, I said this to you yesterday, this is probably something I shouldn't say on the air. He looks like a little bit like if Landon Jackson had hair.
Yeah.
In the face, just in the face. Now, he's not nearly as big as Landon Jackson. This professional fighter, Landon Jackson could probably kick his ass because he's just bigger than him. But this is 185 pounds, so a good weight class. Now, normally Russian dudes are wrestlers, typically. Yeah. This dude, Kopylov, he's not from Dagestan. He's from Russia. I don't know where specifically, but he's a kickboxer.
He's got feet.
Got feet, man. He knocks these dudes unconscious. So his UFC career started with a unanimous decision loss where he faced a grappler and couldn't stop the takedowns. After that, 5 straight KO wins.
Come on,
he's had some highlight. I mean, he puts these dudes unconscious, and so this fight, he's fighting a dude, Anthony Hernandez. Kopylov's 12-2, Hernandez 11-2. So we're looking like Hernandez is ranked 15th too. So this is a kind of a defend your ranking situation. If Hernandez can take him down, Kopylov, it doesn't seem like he can grapple a ton. Yeah. So I think that's probably the easy path to victory there. But if he can't take this dude down, I think we're looking at a highlight reel KO potential. I think Kopylov's going to put his lights out.
So.
So that would be the most fun option. Yeah. Kopylov's plus 200. Now, look, guys, I'm saying this. If you bet on this fight and then you see Anthony Hernandez sit on him for 15 minutes, don't say I didn't tell you that couldn't happen.
Right.
That could absolutely happen. But I truly believe if he can't take Kopylov down, he's going to sleep. I really think that's what's going on here. At plus 200, bet on the cool guy. Bet on the striker, the guy who has a chance to sleep him. That'll be the fun one.
Yeah, exactly.
Curtis, how much do you know of Merab Dvalishvili?
Is he the dude who essentially is like such a good friend that he's probably missed his opportunity to be a champion? Is that?
Well, I'll tell you, the fact that he's fighting this fight against Henry Cejudo, despite he just dominated Peter Yan. His last fight, he dominated Peter Yan. And we saw Sean O'Malley get a title shot off of beating Peter Yan in controversial fashion. And obviously, Sean O'Malley is the champion. And Merab he tells you what the UFC is all about, where it's like, there's a different level to this thing. Fighting and being good at fighting is just simply not enough.
Yeah.
I think he's won 10 straight fights or something like that, 8 straight fights.
Am I right though? Like, is he like him and Aljo are boys?
Yes,
and they weren't going to fight.
Training partners and best friends with Aljamain Sterling, who just lost the belt to Sean O'Malley.
Right.
And Dana White was asked about it a few times and was just like, "Hey man, if you want to get on my bad side, turn down a title fight." And that's what Merab did because they offered him to fight Aljo, and he's like, "Hey, I'm not going to fight him. That's my teammate. That's my best friend." And many people, including myself, have always secretly wondered. Because they train together every day, they spar, and a lot of times it's, MMA sparring is not as simple as just two guys going out there and trying to fight. It's usually like they're preparing. Usually Merab is simulating an opponent, stuff like that. But I've always wondered, those dudes know between the two of them who's better.
Yeah.
I just deep down, I secretly, and who knows, Aljo beat Henry Cejudo in a pretty close title fight last May. So if Merab goes out there and just dominates him, it's going to make me kind of think, because that's what happened with Peter Yan. You know, Aljo beat Peter Yan, but he had to really grind that one out. We saw Sean O'Malley have to really grind one out against Peter Yan. The fact that Merab dominated Peter Yan makes me really think this might be the best 135-pound fighter in the world. It really might be.
Right.
He's going to be ranked number 1 once Aljo makes his featherweight debut and officially moves to featherweight. So it's like,
does the winner of this fight get the winner of Sean and Cheeto?
I think if it's Merab, for sure.
Okay.
I don't think Henry is honestly like. I think Henry's going to retire after he loses this fight. I imagine he will.
That's going to be my next question, yeah.
I don't see a ton of traction. I don't think people care about Henry Cejudo. I don't think people care about Merab, big picture, like in the world. But I think in the MMA community, there's at least a lot of people who are like, hey, Merab should maybe get a chance.
He's pretty entertaining in the press conference.
He does these videos that are fun.
His videos are
He's got
funny,
an interesting personality. I actually think he's got a chance. Like, I think this will be a big moment for him to kind of get in front of a large audience and show some people how good he is. He's had some dud fights, though. Like, he's a grappler who just goes for the takedowns. This might be the worst fight of the night.
Yeah.
In terms of, at least on the main card, this is going to be the least thrilling, like, action fight.
Right. They're both
But there's a lot of stakes, like you said, because, we're talking about Henry Cejudo. Does he get a title shot? Does he not? Maybe, but he's in that conversation if he wins. He might retire if he loses. I think the stakes are that for him.
Right.
And Merab, if he wins this fight, he probably gets to fight Sean O'Malley for the belt, and his patience will have been rewarded. But, dude, if he loses, if he slips on the banana peel here, we see that happen all the time. It just happened to Gilbert Burns last year where he took a fight on short notice being like, oh, I'll get one more win and that'll be it. And then he slips on the banana peel and loses to Bilal, who everyone hates. And it's like, damn.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that doesn't happen to Merab. But as a Sean O'Malley fan, I'm not going to be upset if it does because Merab's a nightmare. I don't want my boy Sugar's facing Merab.
No, you don't want that.
Now, the next fight, though, Chris, is the fight.
Okay. Which one is this?
This is Ian Gary.
Oh, my God.
Where it's time to talk about Ian Machado Gary.
Here we go, man. Yeah.
For anyone who's sick of us talking UFC already, I'm sorry. But this is where it really starts to get fun. This is where it starts to get fun.
Yeah.
Ian Machado Gary. So he's 13-0. He's 26 years old. He's from Ireland. He's got the blessing of Conor McGregor. He's got this expressive personality. He's a handsome guy. He likes to talk. He likes to promote himself. He's good on social media. He has everything you would want, and he's got an exciting fight style. He has everything you would want in a superstar in mixed martial arts. He's the character. He's got the fun fighting, but he has not really resonated with the fans. Now, I will say, I don't say that as a knock. He's a heel. He is truly like we're talking. I know that's a WWE term, but we use a lot of those around here. He is a heel, and he is a damn good heel. I would argue. He's over there flipping people off in the crowd last night after the presser.
Yeah,
he has really rubbed people the wrong way, Curtis. And you personally, how do you feel about Ian Gary?
I was actually a big Ian Gary fan after he fought Neil Magny.
Yeah,
we dominated him. Just absolutely
gave him the finger
him
in the ring as he's walking between rounds. It's like giving him the finger. It's like,
because you had told me about him. It's like, hey man, like this is a dude to keep an eye on for real. He could be legit. And then after that fight, I was like, oh hell yeah, dude, sign me up. And had been waiting for him to fight. And then who was he scheduled to fight?
Vincente Luque.
Okay, that's right.
Who is fighting soon. We'll probably talk about him
all
soon.
Of a sudden, he wound up getting pneumonia or something. He had to pull out. I don't know. He got
like a
sick.
week before.
But the whole situation that has just completely changed my tune is his cuckdom.
His cuckdom,
and
yeah.
It's just wild to me. And you can explain it better than I can. But essentially, he's married to a wag.
Yes.
She's old. How much older is she than him?
So she's 42, 43, maybe 41. Like
and he's like 26.
And he's 26.
Yeah. So she's quite a bit older.
Quite a bit older.
And that's whatever. But there's two things about it. Is one, her ex-husband is his nutritionist.
Travels with them at times.
Yes.
Now he doesn't. Now there were rumors of people speculating that he lives with them. They don't live with the trainer, but they do. Like he comes on he's probably in LA with them right now, or in Anaheim. That's where they're at.
So that's a little weird, a little strange to me. And then also, he strikes me as the poster boy getting got because she wrote a book, on how to, or an article or something on how to be a female who gets the famous husband.
The term wag that Curtis used means wives and girlfriends. It's kind of the term for if you're, the collection. It's usually like a club. It's like, like the girls, friends of the players, of the baseball team, of the whatever. But so apparently the backstory on this is back in the day, she was like an entertainment journalist for a magazine or for something or something along those lines. But the World Cup was in Europe where she was, or I don't know where it was at exactly. I can't remember if it was Ireland or wherever, but maybe in Spain. I don't know. But wherever she was at, she was covering it. And so she wrote a thing, like a book, like a small, I don't know how long it was, but like a kind of short story satire is what it was described as, book of like, hey, the World Cup's in town. Here's how you can be a wag. You can secure your famous rich husband.
Yes.
The star soccer players are here. So it's like, this is clearly a woman who is like, it's joking
she
or
has
not.
An agenda.
Has kind of floated the idea that she might want a rich husband. Yeah. And she had one. I don't know how rich the nutritionist was whenever they were married, but she now is married to Ian Gary. And look, I don't want to like make too much light of this because look, there were some crazy accusations and stuff. I mean, people were calling her a pedophile, and Ian really didn't like that. He really didn't like it.
He's been getting ripped.
Now, look, I don't have a problem with Ian not liking it. I'm fascinated to see how he handles this whole thing.
Me too.
But so, the reason we're talking about him this way is because the internet really turned on Ian Gary. When people found out all this stuff and just found the book and found like the stuff, and also he's fighting Jeff Neal. He was scheduled to fight Jeff Neal, if you remember, when he fought Neil Magny. He showed up to a UFC event in a shirt that had Jeff Neal's mugshot on it from when he had gotten arrested. I can't even remember what it was for, maybe like a DUI or something. But, went to the, so it's like he's fully leaning into the bad boy thing. And then we find out that his wife may or may not be sleeping with her ex and all this. And,
crazy,
people, now they have a 1-year-old kid together, and like people have, made all kinds of crazy rumors and speculation.
Did he take her last name or something?
So, okay. That's another aspect of this. It's a very weird thing in Irish culture. Apparently, it's a thing. I don't know. Maybe in his family. And look, I don't really know what's going on. And I mean, this might be a Brazilian thing now to think about it, because she's got people from Brazil, and that's where they currently reside.
Is that
so? Yes, her family name is Machado.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
And so when they got married, that's now his middle name is Ian Machado Gary. Someone at the press conference the other day asked him to clarify, and he's like, "Yep, I'm Ian Machado Gary." I thought that it was her husband's last name, and a lot of people did. So a lot of people were thinking that he was using his nutritionist / his wife's ex-husband's name. That's not the case.
This
but
is
again,
what the internet does.
But this is how the internet works, where it's just kind of that way. And look, I'm not doing this as a defense of Ian Gary. He's a shithead, man. He is. And I love watching him fight, and I love heels. So I love Ian Gary, but I'm not saying you have to. There are plenty of people tuning in this weekend to see this 13-0 kid get fraud checked.
Yes.
Which is a term we like to use when an up-and-coming prospect faces a grizzled veteran.
That's what I'm hanging my hat on.
So Jeff Neal's ranked 8th, and he's 14-5. His last fight, he's got hands of steel is what they call him. Jeff Hands of Steel Neal.
Great.
He is the perfect guy to fight. We got to find out how tough you are. We're going to make you fight Jeff Neal, because Jeff Neal's a bad dude. And Vincente Luque, who we were just referencing, Ian Gary's teammate who he was scheduled to fight, he got fraud checked against Jeff Neal. had a brain bleed. Ooh. And then Shavkat had a fight against Jeff Neal where he did not get fraud checked. Shavkat passed the test. Now Shavkat's ranked number 3. We know Shavkat's bad. We're ready to see Shavkat fight for the title, but he had to beat Jeff Neal to show us that, and then beat Wonder Boy. This could be the perfect launching pad for Ian Gary to kind of show people he's a legit, hey, I'm a heel. You hate me. You love me. I don't care. I'm a bad dude, and I'm going to put hands on whoever it is you put in front of me. Yeah. Like, that's how this could turn out for Ian Gary. Or we could all be dancing on this kid's grave, and the memes ramp up. And look, Dude, Jeff Neal's the man. Yeah. So I hate that he's kind of the, like, slipped in here, but this is a huge stage for him, a huge moment. And he brought out, he pushed Shavkat to the limit. Yeah. He landed some stuff on Shavkat. Now, look,
it's not easy to do.
Not easy to do, but he forced Shavkat to kind of raise his game. I think he's going to put Ian Gary in a position where Ian's going to have to raise his game.
Yeah.
I think Ian's got all the talent in the world. He's special. I really do think he is as a fighter. I would love to see him rise to the occasion and then cut a great promo after. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But I know there are a lot of people who want what you want, which is Jeff Neal to put them hands on him. It's going to be fun no matter what. I can guarantee this fight, neither of these dudes are grapplers. It's going to be a fun fight regardless of what happens.
I can't wait, man.
I can't wait to bet on that one. So, look, Ian Gary is minus 235. I, as an Ian Gary fan, just told you I think he's winning. I cannot comfortably tell you to bet that.
Yeah.
Or anybody to bet that. I think that's too fat of a price, and Jeff Neal is too good to be plus 190 against a dude he's ranked above.
Yeah.
Now, Ian Gary, I think, is a better fight. I think he's properly favored. I just think Jeff Neal at plus 190. If you like him, I like that too. I think if you were to bet this, I would bet Gary by KO. I just feel like Gary he knows he has to make a statement.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be able to weather the early storm, and I think he's going to know I need to finish this fight. And I think he's got too many weapons that could do that. I mean, both of these guys could land one shot and KO each other. I mean, it's just what kind of talents we're looking at. I like Ian by KO. I'm sure you can get that at plus odds wherever you're betting.
Probably so, yeah.
But I like that. And now,
that's sick, dude.
Let's move to the co-main event real quick.
Okay.
We don't have to talk about this one as much. Paulo Costa, one of the funniest characters.
Man. Yeah, this dude.
Do you remember
that
time I just blindly was like, you have to follow this dude on Twitter?
Yes.
And like didn't even tell you anything else.
You've ever suggested.
Everyone else do that right now. Paulo Costa on Twitter. Borrachinha, I think is his at name. Dude. Follow him on Twitter. He's a Brazilian star. Former title challenger. He's a fun fighter. Has not fought a ton over the last few years, but is one of the funniest personalities in all sports. If you're not
sure if you're into the UFC or not, like you're still teetering, you don't know how entertaining it is outside the actual fights. Like, yes, follow this dude, and he will steer you in the direction of becoming a fan. Like, he's freaking hilarious. And I'll be honest with you, he's a bad man too. But
he's a bad man. Now, look, he's had a fascinating career because he was undefeated going into his title fight with Izzy. He was kind of the Ian Gary at that point, the kid that's on his way up the Shavkat, if you will, the whatever. I think he was like him and Israel Adesanya was like dead even line. And Israel Adesanya may be the best middleweight ever, one of my favorite fighters ever. People really thought he had a chance to beat Izzy. Like, it was a big thing. And Izzy just kind of outclassed him. Just, chewed up his legs. Paulo's legs had huge welts on him after the first round. Like, just chewed him up and then eventually finished him in the second round. And just kind of, and Paulo claims that he was wine drunk the night before. Yeah. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But if you watch the fight, he looked like he might have been. His next fight, he shows up 25 pounds overweight. They have to move it up a weight class. And so it's like, oh, crap. Like, this guy who at one point we were like, hey, is he about to beat Izzy? Is he about to be the champ? Now he's on a 2-fight losing streak, and he's missed weight by 20 pounds. And it's like, holy cow.
Then he got a staph infection?
Then he has a contract dispute with the UFC that takes forever.
Yeah.
He fights Luke Rockhold on the last fight of his deal, and then the contract dispute, and he beats him. Really fun fight. Every fight he's in, for the most part, is a really fun fight. Gets back in the win column. Then he enters a long contract dispute. Finally gets his contract situation worked out. They had announced that he was going to fight in July of last year, but then that was apparently he had never even signed to fight, and it was one of those, another weird one that we talk about where it's like, wait, what's going on? Was supposed to fight in October, gets staph infection 2 weeks before, and so we've had to wait a long time to see the return of the eraser, Paulo Costa. But this is one of those fights. He's fighting Robert Whitaker, former champion. This is a high-level top 5 matchup. Two bad dudes. If you're just watching the event, they'll promote it for you. Robert Whitaker, I can read you his resume if you need, but he's a stud. He's as proven as anyone in this division. Like I said, former champion. If Israel Adesanya didn't exist, maybe he's the best middleweight of all time. Who knows? This fight probably would have happened before. But again, like Curtis said, if you're on the fence, this is one of those fights where it's like, this is what we're asking. If you watch this fight and you don't like it, I don't know. Maybe one of them will break their leg in the first 5 minutes or whatever. But I just think it's going to be one of those guaranteed firework fights.
Yeah.
Doesn't really need much promotion. But Robert Whitaker, the Aussie, there's 2 Aussies on this card. Or actually, there's a few Aussies.
Yeah.
Aussie in the main event, Alex Volkanovski.
Grandpa Volk.
Volk has really won you over, like, in your time as a fan, right?
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love him. Like, when I was introduced to Volk, he's just, tough as nails and just a great fighter, pound for pound, kind of guy. And I always respected that. But I've seen more of his personality lately, and I didn't see so much of it in his last fight because he took it on such short notice.
Right.
And we talk about that all day, whether or not he was just a drunk before he took that fight or whatever. But he's really leaned into this bit where people were saying, "Oh, is he getting too old? Is he washed? Is this the beginning of the end? Now he's fighting a youngster or whatever." But yeah, like him cutting all these promos, showing up to the press conference just dressed like Benjamin Button, old man, and leaning into it has been freaking incredible. He's killing it in this bit, and that's why I hope he wins this fight. And
we mentioned his bit on one of the six packs. If you didn't watch it then, now really go watch it.
Oh, dude, it's
type
awesome.
in Volk Old Man on YouTube, and it'll pop. A bunch of videos will pop up. But watch all of them; they're all great. But he did a very good promo where he kind of was leaning into it, like you said. Volk's fascinating because this guy's a former rugby player. He was a professional rugby player who played rugby at 205 pounds.
Which is nuts because he's not that big of a dude.
He's 5'6", and he weighed in at 145 this morning.
Yeah.
Not a big guy at all, but he was playing pro rugby with all these big dudes. His first professional MMA loss came at 185 pounds. If you go back and look, if you go look at his Wikipedia page, and he told the story in an interview where he was like, earlier in my career, it's hard to get fights when you're trying to work your way onto the scene and get booked, and he was like having trouble getting booked, so he would just take any fight that was offered. If it was 170, 185 pounds, 205, whatever. So his first pro loss was a knockout against a 185 pound dude. He's 145, and so it's like that was his only loss until he got to the UFC, and then he didn't lose. He fights Max Holloway. And he was like a plus 300. He was a huge underdog. Unanimous decision, kind of dominated him. People said it was a controversial decision. Go back and watch the fight. It's not controversial. They had a rematch with Max Holloway, who at the time was the consensus best featherweight ever. That one was controversial. I actually thought Max won that one. But again, they do it whatever. They do it a third time, and he outclasses him worse than he did the first 2 times. And it was just, you could kind of see like, okay, this dude's undeniable. Let's just relax. He's the best featherweight in the world. He's beaten Brian Ortega, where he had to fight out of all these submissions. He beat the Korean Zombie, beats Yair Rodriguez. I believe he's got 6 title defenses, is what he's up to at featherweight. Wow. Never lost at this weight class. Yeah, had 2 losses in 2023. One via very close decision to Islam Makhachev, who is the best fighter in the world. He's the best pound for pound. He's the best 150. He's the best fighter in the world. Habib's cousin. Right. Volk goes up a weight class, and many argued he beat him. He didn't beat him. Right. Again, like just watch.
He won the end of the fight. Yeah.
He won the 5th round, and look, one could argue that if they had asked Islam, hey, do you want to fight 2 more rounds? I think he would have tapped out. I'm just telling you. Right. But I think it was the decision was right. But it was a night where Volk, people really further solidified, like, all right, this is an all-time great. This is a legend. We cannot keep denying this guy. He defends his belt against Yair in the summer and then comes back, like you said, on short notice.
What do you have, like 2 weeks or something?
I think it was 11 days is what it was. Dude, and that's 11 days where you also had to drop weight, hop on a flight, go to Abu Dhabi. He lives in Australia. According to him, he was drinking heavily between fights because he was kind of depressed about not having a fight and just kind of was a little going crazy. He had just had a daughter, too. So, look, he went into that Islam fight where he gets head kicked, KO'd in the first round.
Imagine taking a short notice fight against Islam after you've been on a bender thinking, hey, this is what it's going to get me back on track.
He just fought him with the full camp and almost beat him, but didn't quite. So it's like, I would have loved to have seen the rematch under a real camp. Yes. But it's like there was no way that he was going to outdo that performance on short notice. And I think he regrets taking it. I think he knows like that was stupid. Yeah. It is what it is.
And now he's fighting this dude who is talking mad shit.
Well, again, we just said that was in October where he's coming off of this loss and he gets head kicked and killed and he was drinking every day. We're in February. So it's very fair to question what version of Volk are we going to get? Are we going to get the guy who is never lost at 145 pounds and that seems to rise above everything we always put in front of him? Or are we going to get the guy who was drinking heavily and took a short notice fight and maybe is not in the best headspace? Ilia Topuria is just not who you want to face in those circumstances.
Yeah.
For those, some people might recognize Ilia Topuria's name because he beat the absolute hell out of Bryce Mitchell.
Yes.
December of 2022, which at the time I remember thinking like, oh man, Bryce might not be as good as I thought. Since then, Ilia Topuria has been beating a lot of people. He's beating everybody like that.
Yeah.
And hell, he might be Volk like that. I mean, the way he's talking, Curtis, he truly believes he's about to go in there and make quick work. He likes the matchup. He thinks he's definitely got the power advantage. He's the more explosive. He's 27 years old. He's the younger, more explosive athlete. He hits harder. I think he respects Volk, but I think he truly thinks that he's just got a different level of threat, and he doesn't think Volk's going to be able to match him. And look, historically speaking, Volk just turned 35. Fighters over the age of 35 or older in the smaller weight classes just don't typically age well. It's like they're like 2 and 27 in title fights or something crazy like that. Like kind of like that in the NBA too. Like the Chris Pauls in the world, like they're rare. When you're 6'3", it's just hard to play basketball for a long time. It's kind of like that. So it's like we're kind of reaching. There's a lot of things that would trend towards this being a changing of the guard moment. It's very similar to Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo, and I know that's like sacrilegious. And I'm not saying Topuria's Conor. I'm not saying that even. I mean, Volkan.
Similar situations though.
But you had Jose Aldo, the unanimous best featherweight ever, pound for pound, top 3, like unanimous. And you have a guy in Conor McGregor who just knew he was going to go out there and put his lights out and went out there and put his lights out. And it was a changing of the guard. And it was kind of a moment where like, oh, that is what it is. Like, and you had a star on your hands. If Topuria goes out there and beats Volk, he's going to be a massive star. Everyone's going to be talking about this dude. People like that are listening to this that had never heard of him until this podcast will be hearing about him on Monday if he goes out there and KOs Volk.
Yeah.
We talk about stakes, man.
Who's going to win this fight? You got to go on the record now.
It's minus 125 for Volk. Volk is the slightest of slight favorites.
Okay.
Which, like, crazy. If you look at his resume and just all the people he's faced, you're like, man, how is he only minus 125 against this guy whose best win is Bryce Mitchell, you know, or Josh Emmett, really? But because, you know, it's fair to wonder, because Topuria certainly hasn't faced anyone this accomplished, this well-rounded. I think the power advantage is what really makes me nervous. That combined with Volk coming off of a KO loss, being 35 and kind of getting up there in age. I thought there were moments in the Yair fight he looked a little like not peak Volk. I think Topuria gets it done. I don't know if he KOs him, but I think he's going to land the bigger shots in this fight. I think that Volk, I'm never going to count him out. If Volk goes out there and outclasses him and makes it look easy, I won't be surprised.
Right.
Because I'm not surprised by anything that dude does. He's going to be coming out to the Land Down Under the song, but I think Topuria, I think we have a star on our hands, guys. I think this dude's the real deal. He certainly believes he's the real deal.
He definitely believes that.
He would be 15-0. He's got all of Spain behind him. He's from Georgia, not Atlanta, the country Georgia.
Yep.
Now he's at Spain, so he's got 2 countries behind him. He's, again, kind of like Ian Gary, looks like a star, talks like a star, walks like a star, fights like a star, man.
He's got the it factor.
He does have that. He's just kind of, when y'all watch him this weekend, like you see the promo and all that, he just has that star factor. And like, kind of with Sean O'Malley, that's how I felt going into it, where I was like, I just feel like this guy it feels like he's the guy. And I worry what that means for Volk, because I freaking love Volk and I respect that dude so much.
I know.
And I'm going to be happy no matter what with this main event, but one of the guys just doesn't show up or something. But I'm going to be so nervous, but I'm leaning Topuria, and that's probably where I'll bet. But secretly, I love Volk, and I think Volk's going to get it done. I don't know. I'm torn,
I think I'm kind of in the same vein with you, man. Either way, like it's a freaking awesome card, and I'm really I'm pumped. I'm pumped to watch it. I'm pumped to bet on it until I lose all my money, and then I'm excited to talk about it again on Monday. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It'll be a blast. Let's get through the Friday flurry. We'll go rapid fire here, and we'll get out of here. Dude, there were a lot of things we could talk about. It's kind of crazy to me, first of all, that Caitlin Clark sets the women's basketball scoring record. But did you see the Division II chick?
I don't know if I did.
Okay, this girl, she plays at Francis Marion. It's a Division II school. Her name's Lauren Taylor. She's 5'11". She had 44 rebounds in a game last night. That is obviously a record. 44 boards in a single game. A 40-minute game.
What's the record? I mean, did Wilt ever do anything like that? Like,
I have no idea. What I see here is that she surpassed the.
That's a good. I mean, dude, teams. Arkansas has had less than 44 rebounds in several games this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Several. I mean, what do they average? 34?
Maybe. Yeah. Taylor, who is a 5'11" senior
dude.
who pulled down 30 defensive rebounds and 14 offensive boards. It was the most ever in an NCAA contest.
We should clarify that there are a lot of missed shots in women's basketball.
There are a lot of those.
But
she surpassed the Division II mark. The D2 mark was 36. That was set in 1995, and the old NCAA mark overall was 40, and that was set in 1983. That's
ungodly stuff.
That's wild.
You said Lauren Taylor is her name.
Yeah, Lauren Taylor. That is incredible, man. So good on her for just being a gobbler of rebounds, if you will.
A gobbler.
Yeah. Gobble them up, man. Did you see Fairleigh Dickinson, the Cinderella darling of the NCAA tournament? They were at LIU, Long Island University, for a game, and it got delayed because they got stuck on the elevator.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we've seen that happen. Usually, it happens with football, where like the coordinators are like stuck between the locker room or whatever.
In the press box, yeah.
The elevator. So, is this an elevator like just at the arena, or like where are they going to?
It either takes them up or down from their locker room area, the visiting locker room area, to the court.
Yeah, don't have an elevator from your locker room to your court. What
they
the
took
heck?
the stairs at halftime. But,
I mean, yeah. That's maybe it was a little. Was it the road team that got messed up by this? Oh yeah, that's a mind.
But then they won the game.
It always happens to the road team. The AC went out in the guest locker room.
Yeah.
It's always something like that.
They did win the game, so credit to them. They did take the stairs at
Persevered.
halftime. Have you ever been stuck on an elevator?
I don't think I have, man.
I don't have either. I would get uncomfortable, I think, pretty quick if that
Anytime
happened,
I see it, I start. You know, like when you're watching a movie and people go underwater and you're like holding your breath a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I always start to think about it when I watch an elevator scene.
Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable. Have you ever smuggled anything anywhere in your pants?
Oh yeah, plenty of stuff.
Like just like sneak things into a movie theater or
all the time,
wherever, whatever.
I accidentally stole from Buc-ee's one time because I was like looking for a magnet to get for Hillary, and then I put it in my pocket because I had to go pee, and then I just walked out with it. I accidentally did that, but
was I with you when that happened?
Yes,
I think I
you
was
because I remember I got to the car and I was like, oh,
yeah. Would you smuggle a python into the United States in your pants?
No, I would not.
A man in New York City did. He did.
A bolder man than I am.
Yeah, snuck it from two of them actually from Canada into the United States. Had them both in a snake bag attached to his inner thigh. Dude, I would not trust. I don't know what a snake bag is, but I wouldn't trust it to smuggle a snake in.
You remember the wrestler Jake the Snake? He used to take that bag.
That sack, yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that's what it is, huh?
Oh, I used to have to turn off. That'd be the only time I would turn off WWF at the time.
Oh
when
yeah.
Jake when he let the snake out of the bag, I'm like, I can't watch this dude.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It would freak me out every time.
I'm anti-python for sure.
I'm anti-python. He got in trouble too. Like he got sentenced to 1 year of probation. They fined him $5,000 because it's a federal smuggling charge. Apparently, like
it's
you can't bring pythons into the States without the proper documentation, I guess. But he was on, for the record, like it wasn't a snakes on a plane situation. He was on a bus.
Oh, that's not
to go from so it's probably easier for him to do, but it's
dude. If I found out I was on any transportation, I found out there was some dude smuggling a freaking python,
I'd be getting off that transportation.
I'm yelling.
Yeah, I'm
yelling.
That's crazy, man. I don't know.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's exactly right. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh no, actually, I did want to draw attention to Zendaya's Dune premiere outfit.
Oh yeah,
she dressed like C-3PO. You pretend like you don't know who C-3PO is.
That's my bit.
I know. It's a great bit. Curtis is low-key the biggest Star Wars fan of all time. Low-key. Well, he will be on May 2nd whenever we take him to go see the Phantom Menace, which all the Star Wars fans know that's the good one. But no, she dressed in just a preposterous outfit. For anyone that hasn't seen it, just Google Zendaya Dune premiere, maybe. That'll maybe help you. But her outfit, it's just wild. And I love
funny,
Zendaya,
man,
but it was a wild outfit.
Yes, it was.
I love when celebrities do stuff like so stupid, and it's like nobody says anything, and we're just like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like Kanye has his wife that just doesn't wear clothes. Just does not wear clothes out, and they're like, oh yeah, she's so artistic.
Yeah, I think she's just naked.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I think that's all I got.
Yeah, well, no,
I gotta get out of here. I gotta get to bomb, bro.
I was gonna say we're getting close to first pitch here, and so that's exciting. But we will we'll have this out for people who are driving to bomb to check it out before the game or coming this weekend or whatever. But it's been fun.
It has been
congratulations on making it to the beginning of baseball season. I'm gonna become a baseball guy here real quick because basketball's stinking it up. But we will always have, like you said at the beginning, the six pack.
The six pack will matter, even if
whatever.
Baseball team gets swept this weekend by the Dukes. just throw this bad boy on.
right.
It'll help.
We'll be here. We'll be here, and we can't.
And
wait.
we've got Paulo Costa.
Yeah, we always have.
That's what
Paulo
we have.
Costa.
Well, except for most of the time.
Exactly. Yeah. If he's overweight or has a staph infection or is on steroids or in a contract dispute or whatever,
Right,
but you get the picture.
Outside of that, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, for Andrew Ellis, this has been Curtis Wilkerson with Natty State Sports. This has been the Six Pack, and we will catch you guys on Monday.